By the end of this video, you'll have everything you need to hit Foxhound Rank in Metal Gear Solid Delta. I'll cover useful tips and camo to help make extreme smoother, areas that can be particularly frustrating, and of course, an overview of each boss fight. This is not a step-by-step, it's just a minimum you need to know, I believe, going in. Foxhound is easier here than in previous versions of Metal Gear Solid 3, but it can still be frustrating. So that's what this video is for, to help you push through those and finish the run. So the first thing I want to point out is this pause menu right here. This is the only pause menu in game that this works on, but it pauses the game clock, which is important because one of the requirements for Foxhound is that your playtime has to be less than 5 hours total. I would encourage you to go into this screen, this Records Now screen, periodically throughout your playthrough. The requirements to meet Foxhound Rank are on the screen here. I won't read through them all, but when you come to this screen throughout your playthrough, there's a couple things that I like to keep an eye on. Continues and humans killed. In my experience, these are the two that you can sort of overlook. At one point in my playthrough, I noticed I had a continue, and I have no idea where it came from. I had to reload a save, but unlimited saves are allowed. So make sure you're saving regularly so that you always have a falling back point in case something does happen and you need to do that. So a few tips here really quick, going through them. Rolling is faster than walking. Tactical reload is very helpful, particularly against bosses. To do a tactical reload, you simply unequip and re-equip your weapon. You can use AT camo. I know that Foxhound Rank bans the use of any special items, but AT camo is not counting as a special item. So you can and you should, if you're on New Game Plus, use AT camo. You can pick up enemies for ammo. So if you're running low on Mark 22 ammunition, pick up enemies and drop them for a chance for some ammo. I didn't have a lot of luck with this, but I did get a few boxes every once in a while. There's a Mark 22 suppressor in the warehouse. During both visits, you just roll off the second floor there onto it and grab it. Explosive barrel kills do not count against you. There are 3 areas that come to mind here. Bolshaya past base, just outside of the warehouse, and then inside the warehouse. There are explosive barrels that will help you to clear an area and get through it easier. So use that to your advantage. Shoot the explosive barrels with your 1911, not your Mark 22. If you're playing on New Game, go with I Like MGS1 because that is going to get you the OSCAM and the DPM. The OSCAM is a damage reduction camo, and the DPM is a life regen camo. You can't use life medicine for a Foxhound Rank, so the DPM camo does come in handy for if you need to top off your health while traveling between encounters. If you have the sneaking DLC pack, the sneaking suit Peace Walker version and the battle dress Peace Walker version are both pretty good. Other than that, if you're on New Game Plus, obviously the sneaking uniform is quite good for damage reduction, and I do run that during a few boss fights. So we'll start with the first obvious encounter that may be challenging on extreme difficulty, and that's the Ocelot Unit encounter in Razvik. So there's a number of ways to do this, but the way I do it is I wear Desert Tiger camo, and I come out here to this corner, and I equip a stun grenade, and I aim it through the door, and I wait for the 3rd enemy to start climbing. Once I see him, I'll throw it, and I'm watching the number on the left. If that number on the left shows 6, we're good to continue on. If it shows 7, reload your save. Drop down here, equip your Mark 22, and look to the right. You're going to take 2 guys out next to us. And once they're down, we're going to crawl out here and to the right, just outside of the building. Make sure you stay prone here. Once you get out, we're going to crawl up to this corner. We're going to stare into the sun. And we're looking for the sniper here. So do your best to get an angle on him and shoot him anywhere. It doesn't matter where. Just shoot him anywhere with the Mark 22. And back through the same hole in the wall. And we're going to kind of go to the left here and look straight. We're going to see an enemy way in the distance in the corner. Try to get a shot into him and then move toward that exit where we saw him. If you're impatient, you can put another shot into him, and then you're just going to move up to this corner. There's going to be an enemy around this corner to the right on the opposite side of the building. And there's one enemy left. And you're going to take a shot here on this guy. That's it for the Ocelot unit. For the Ocelot fight, it's pretty simple. You can use lethal here if you are on New Game Plus and you already have the animal's camo. If you don't have the animal's camo, you're on New Game, you're going to want to use the Mark 22 here. The idea here is stay behind this rock. Ocelot's going to swing around to the right. When you see him go left, you're going to step up a little bit to the right just to make him come back to the right. And you can just repeat that process until he's down. It's quite an easy fight. For the pain, when you get to the cave, not the cave branch, so go through the cave branch, get to the cave, and hang a right. And there's going to be the M37 shotgun, which is critical to have going into the fight. Fight with the pain is really a tale of two platforms. Get as many shots as you can onto his head. He's eventually going to put his armor on, or his Hornet. So you want to take out your M37. You're going to have to shoot him 4 times to get the Hornets off of him. Once that's done, you take out your Mark 22 again, and you shoot him as many times as you can. When he goes to attack, the safest thing to do is typically to dive into the water. And here I throw a smoke grenade to get the Hornets off of him again and get as many shots as I can. And just repeat that process. You can always swim to the other platform. From your starting point, you would jump off and go right to reach this other platform. And on that platform, there is a box of M37 shotgun ammo and a box of Mark 22 ammo. So keep that in mind. You can rotate between these two platforms, and that's really the whole fight. It's getting the Hornets off, getting as many shots into the paint as you can, and just be, patient. It could take some time depending on luck and how often he spams attacks on the platform that you're trying to fight him from. When he reaches above his head, he's going to pull out a Tommy gun. He's going to say Tommy gun. And at that point, you want to get behind whatever platform you're on for cover and then climb up when he's done. I will point out, although I didn't take advantage of it too much during my fight, you're immune from any damage while climbing onto the platform. About halfway through the fight, there's going to be a cutscene. When that cutscene is finished, he's going to start summoning bullet bees. And there's those little red trail around them as they fly around toward you. As soon as that cutscene ends, roll off into the water and dive and swim to the other platform, whatever the opposite platform that you're currently on is. Swim to that platform. By the time you do that, the bullet bees will be gone. They're very dangerous, so you want to avoid those. Once you get to the lab, equip your scientist uniform with no face paint. That'll allow you to walk right past the guards. Grab the cigarette gas spray. It's going to come in handy against the end. It's just north of 4 seconds that you have to wait before you go. It's a timing thing. It works out to be three three-piece combos here. So you just swing those into the air and then exit. Once you get to this point here, you're going to want to make a hard left as soon as you go through the door to avoid the scientist seeing you and triggering an alert. At the start of the fight, with the fear, cure yourself, equip the Mark 22, and put on thermal goggles if you want help tracking him. There's Mark 22 ammo scattered around the area. Grab what you need, then make a manual save. That way you can reload with your setup and full ammo if things go wrong. The real challenge here is keeping track of the fear's movement. Once you push him down to about half health, be careful. He'll start hunting for food. And if he eats, he refills to full and the fight drags on. And if that happens, it's usually faster to reload your save. To stop him, you've got two options. You can roll into him when he drops to the ground, or you can throw a stun grenade as he climbs down. Either way, that gives you an opening for several Mark 22 shots. You can also tag him as he climbs back up. Keep your ammo topped off, make sure you attack him when he goes for food, and this fight ends quickly. Next up is the fight with the end. Here you want to equip moss camo if you have it. I forgot during this run, so you will see me using a mix of DPM and the sneaking suit, which works fine. Next, equip the cigarette gas spray, then set up the Mark 22 and thermal goggles. Once all that's in place, go ahead and make a manual save. There is Mark 22 ammo in the building down the left path from spawn. Just be careful. If your camo rating drops low here, the end can spot you as you approach. His position can vary, but most often you'll catch him where I do here. Watch for the glint of his scope to give him away. That's how you'll verify his location. And the fight plays out the same across difficulties. You want to locate him, land your shots, and keep pressure on him so he doesn't get too far away. Sometimes you'll end up chasing him. That's where the thermal goggles come in because they make it easy to follow his footprints. If you're after the moss camo and don't already have it, sneak up on him, hold him up, do the aim away and aim back trick until he drops it. Once you get 3 shots into him, his health bar is going to gray out. At that point, you want to back off because he's going to drop a stun grenade at his feet, and then he's going to attempt to reposition. You have to anticipate his escape route and hit him with the cigarette gas spray as he passes. After that, you want to swap back to the Mark 22 and fire whenever you see his health bar turn white. Repeat this cycle until he's finished. When the fight's over, don't forget to pick up the Mosin Nagant. Also, that same ammo building from earlier will restock, so go grab more Mark 22 rounds before heading up into the mountains. Animals camo in the mountains area is incredible. You can crouch walk around 65 to 75%. For this fight, use whatever damage reduction camo you've got. I'm on New Game Plus here, so I'm wearing the sneaking suit, but OsCam works fine as well. For non-lethal runs, the Mosin Nagant sniper rifle is the way to go. You unlock it by defeating the end non-lethally. On lethal runs, I'd probably switch to the SVD. And as always, before a boss fight, equip your loadout, then do a manual save so you don't have to redo the setup if you have to reload. You may need to turn down or turn off your game music to hear this, but you will hear a distinct jetpack sputter just before the Fury lands. You can hear him landing here on my left. So that tells me exactly where to look. As soon as you spot him, line your shots up. Take your shots, try to bait his flamethrower attack. So while the health bar is still white, continue to attack. Watch carefully though, because once it fades to gray, he's about to try to lift off. You want to keep your positioning smart. I spend the majority of this fight staying near the middle of lanes when I'm moving between the ends. I'm always keeping 2 aisles open. That way, if he comes overhead or pushes in, I can quickly cut across to the other aisle next to me and avoid the flames. If you trap yourself and you don't have a lane to escape to, that's when you get cooked. Okay, the Groznyj Grad Weapons Lab East Wing. So when you come in here, you shoot this guy one time, and then you run up the stairs and get cover against the wall behind us here. We're going to take this guy out. And then you'll wait for the major to come out. So stay as far away from the door as you can as you're dragging the major over to the locker room. Once you get past the torture scene, you're going to want to pick up the fork in the jail cell and go ahead and cure yourself. So you're going to pull out the transponder and the fake death pill. When you're done with that, you're going to spin Snake around 10 times. And then you'll get right against the exit door and knock out the guard as soon as he opens this door here. Now, once you knock that guard out, you're going to want to make sure you pick him up twice. The first time, he's going to drop smoke grenade, and then the second time, he's going to drop instant noodles. Once you've picked him up twice, you can go ahead and exit. Okay, once you're outside, you're going to take out your instant noodles, and you're going to aim them exactly where I aimed them, and distract this guard. And as soon as he's distracted, you're going to roll toward the back wall here, 2 rolls, and then roll again across this path here, and then get to the ground immediately and crawl straight to where I'm crawling to get through the hole in the wall. It's a very tight window to get through there. Then in northeast, you're going to go left. There's going to be a guard up here on your right. You're going to have to pause for a moment here. And you can see him around the corner there. You're going to wait for him to look away, and then you're going to continue down that path we were heading. Okay. Then move forward and just go through the door on the other side. Now here is where your smoke grenades that we picked up earlier are going to come in handy. You're going to hug this wall on the right here. And the first nade you want to throw is toward that guard on my left. You see him there. So I'm going to throw a smoke grenade in that direction. That's going to mask it's going to hide my location from that guard. Then I'm going to throw another one directly in front of me, and then one more because I'm going to need one to continue past that first guard again. And then from there, we can simply just run forward. You can see at the top, it's still just caution. And then if you're worried, you can give it a quick sanity check in your records now screen. Behind the waterfall, the only thing to remember is to grab the box B at the end of the path. So from here, the easiest and quickest path to get to the Volgin fight is to take all the guards out in this area and then use the box in the back of the truck to get to the weapons lab where you can plant the explosives and trigger the boss fight. Relative to the other bosses in the game, Volgin is, in my opinion, the toughest fight. At the start, you're going to rush him, land a CQC slam. As he gets up, pull out the Mark 22, fire 4 shots into his back, and that's essentially your loop. You want to try to CQC slam him, shoot, and then reset. He'll mix in his lightning ball attack and some other attacks, and those you want to dodge. And then you have to close the gap and slam again, or wait for him to charge you. If he's charging you, stand your ground. Don't try to roll away. Just try to time it and learn the parry timing, and really just do that same loop. If you're not in range, you should be ready to parry his charge and follow up with a slam anyway. So here's an important note, though. You can only shoot him once you slam him if there's no lightning sparking around his body. If he's glowing blue, you have to wait it out, or you'll take damage if you get too close to him. At the halfway mark, you'll get a cutscene. After this, you can equip the mask for a free slam. You can do that actually anytime, but I like to do it in phase 2. In phase 2, he adds the bullet shield attack, so you just want to crawl to avoid it. And from here, it's just about being patient. You want to keep your weapon unequipped unless you're shooting him on the ground. Then focus on parry timing when he charges. Just stand your ground, nail the parry, punish with another slam into shots, and repeat until he's finished. For this initial chase, you want to equip the Cold War camo to reduce the aggression level of the enemies that will be shooting at you. Prioritize any enemies on rooftops, as they probably have an RPG and you just don't want to get hit by an RPG. The only challenge you're going to have for the first half and a little bit in the second half of the Shagohod boss fight is Eva's AI. You're going to have unlimited ammo with the RPG, so you simply shoot the drill treads until the machine kind of seizes up, and then you'll just shoot it in the front. For the second part of this Shagohod boss fight, Volgin is on top. You only really have to shoot one drill tread and then aim at the side of Volgin's head with the Mosin, and then you repeat that process. Eva will absolutely run you over, by the way. For these final sections, for the first portion here, you want to feed Eva immediately. When she has full stamina, she moves faster, which is critical to get through this area without getting spotted. And then really you just want to follow kind of the path that I go here and stop every once in a while and have call Eva, and then you should be fine. And here you want to take out all the enemies in this area before proceeding with the Eva. So the first guy on the left here, followed by this enemy coming up toward you, then these two in the distance, and then there's going to be one more over to the right by the time you shoot these. And don't worry too much about getting headshots on these guys. Just kind of hit them anywhere with the Mark 22. And then finally the guy on the right here. And then with those enemies down, just have Eva follow you, feed her, top her stamina off if you need to, and then have her follow you over to the next section where the final enemies in the game will be waiting. Okay, once you get to this cliff here, the first enemy you want to take out is directly below you. So take him out. And then there are two directly in front of you. One is actually in the vegetation here on the left. But if you take out this guy first, and if you equip thermal goggles, you'll be able to see this enemy here in the vegetation. I'm going to take him out. And then there's one more enemy on the left. And then you're clear to the boss. The boss, even on extreme, is one of the easier fights once you get her parry timing down. She has 2 CQC attacks, one in the first half and another added when she drops to half health or stamina. For the first attack, here is where you want to parry, just as she pulls her arm back. And again for the second attack, here is where you want to parry, just as she pulls her arm back, though I will say my perception is that this second attack has a much tighter parry window. Time does also slow for a split second. That's your window as well. Stay patient, land those parries, and this fight becomes very straightforward. That wraps up the Foxhound Rank guide for Metal Gear Solid Delta. Hopefully, this makes the challenge more manageable. If you've got questions or tips that might help others, drop them in the comments. I'll read through them all. I'll be back with more soon. Thanks for watching. Good luck and take care.